Hey guys, it's Shara from Woodshop Diaries, and today I'm going to show you something a little bit different. You may notice that this isn't my typical style of furniture building. With my typical modern style furniture, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for imperfections, and I'm not a perfect builder. So sometimes it's kind of fun to just turn on the radio and build something that you don't have to worry about getting everything just right, because the imperfections are kind of the point. So today I'm going to show you how I built this super simple little coffee station table. And crap, that was going really well. So today I'm going to show you how I built this super simple coffee station table from some standard construction lumber and a few basic tools. So if you're ready to get building, let's go. The good thing about a rustic finish is that things don't have to line up just perfect. In fact, it's actually helpful in the distressing process if there are a few uneven spots or ridges. So I grabbed my construction lumber and got to work. By the way, the full plans and step-by-step tutorial for this project can be found here in the top corner or linked below in the description if you want to check them out. Now, some habits are hard to break, and although this table didn't call for nice smooth edges when working with construction lumber, I can't help myself and I have to clean them up just a little. So after I rough cut my 2x10s for the top and the shelves on the miter saw, I cleaned up the edges on the table saw to make for a smoother glue up. Then I glued up 3 panels, 1 for the top and 2 for the shelves. I ripped my 2x10s down to the right widths to make my top 24 inches deep and my shelves 23 inches deep. I'll trim them down to the right lengths later. While the glue dried on those, I moved on to building the base frame of the table. This was made from 2x4s and 2x2s, and of course, pocket holes. So I trimmed the legs down to the length that I needed, and again, ran them through the table saw to square up and clean up the edges. Rustic or not, this is just something I can't not do. Then I gave them a good sanding, and I moved on to trimming down the 2x2s for the frame. I drilled pocket holes into the ends of the 2x2s and began assembling using wood glue and pocket hole screws. Because of the design of this particular table, it's kind of easy to end up with a wobbly table if something isn't screwed in square. So I attached some of the frame together, then before the glue dried, I placed it on my table saw surface to ensure that it wasn't wobbly or crooked. I know that my table saw surface is completely flat, so that was the best place for me to set it to see if it rocked one way or the other. While I let the glue dry on the base, I trimmed down the top and the shelves to the correct lengths using my circular saw. By the way, if you're interested in this track that I'm using here with my circular saw, check out my plywood cutting video for more details on it. Now, because the shelves will kind of wrap around the legs at the corners, I needed to notch them out so that they'll fit. So I measured, marked, and used a jigsaw to cut the corners of the bottom and the middle shelf like shown. In hindsight, it might have been easier to make these shelves a variety of different ways, but hindsight's kind of useless when your panels are already glued up. So I just continued on as I was. Once I had the corners cut, I added the middle shelf supports into the frame, which again, in hindsight, wasn't a good idea, but I'm sharing my mistakes with you here so that you can point and laugh and maybe not make them like I did. So now that the frame was assembled, I gave the shelves in the top a good sanding to get them nice, flat, and smooth. I placed the bottom shelf in and it fit great. So then I tried the middle shelf. Obviously that was not working, so I ended up having to remove one of the middle supports so that I could slide the shelf in place. Then I reattached the support. So it would have been best to install these middle supports after the shelf was inside the frame. Just an FYI if you're going to try this yourself. To secure these shelves in place, I screwed them in through the bottom supports like shown. Then I placed on the top and checked that the overhang was the same on the sides and the front. Then I screwed this in place through the 2x2s on the base. Assembly was complete at this point, but it still needed to be finished. Typically, when finishing a distressed piece, I stain the wood a dark color so that when I sand the paint off in places later, the underneath is dark and it shows up better than just raw wood. That's how I've always done it. So I stained the entire piece in Barethane Smoke Gray, and once that was dry, I brushed on 2 light coats of white latex paint. I came back the next day after everything had been good and dry, and I gave the entire piece a light sanding. Then I took a piece of 80 grit sandpaper and hand sanded the corners, joints, and a few random places all over, just to give the piece a quote-unquote distressed farmhouse look. And once it was wiped down to get all the sanding dust off, it was ready to use. So my friend was using this as a coffee bar station table, and it would be great for something like that in the kitchen, or as a little entryway table to toss keys, etc. when you walk in the front door. Either way, however you use it, it's a super simple build, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you're interested in the exact measurements and or products used in this project, head over to the blog post linked below. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on what's coming next. Until next time, you guys, happy building!